Hello adventurers, I'm Gray and welcome to a new Hytale progress update for May of 2020. And if you've never seen these types of videos on my channel before, I'm basically going to read through this blog update and give some thoughts and opinions on it along with some speculation for the future of Hytale. This blog post is fairly straightforward about two concepts that were discussed briefly before, those being character customization and throwable items. Now, character customization had a blog post for it before, however, this provides more details and expands on it, and throwable items were teased in the past in like little videos and little clips, but this provides a lot more info on the topic. So, to start off, hi everybody. In this post, we're going to explore some of the under-the-hood improvements we've made to Hytale's character customization system, changes that expand the range of characters you'll be able to create both in-game and through use of Hytale's modding tools, and we're also going to take a peek at Hytale's throwable items, for reasons that'll become clear. Oh, that's intriguing. We've had another busy month as we continue to grow and adapt our team to match the evolving challenges of game development. Over the last month, we've listed many new roles on our jobs page, including positions in our forthcoming headquarters in Northern Ireland. How's it going, laddies? As well as remote roles across a variety of disciplines. Please take a look. We welcome all applications. So to start off, we have improvements to character customization, which I find interesting because I like to make my game characters sort of representative of me. I like to put a lot of work and detail into them, and I'm used to Minecraft style where you can customize just the texture completely, and people have gotten creative with that. Hytale seems to go a bit differently with swappable hairstyles and swappable clothes that are sort of preset. However, you can make your own, but I think this goes into more detail about new ways to do that. So, it's been a fair while since we've talked about character customization in Hytale. In our previous blog post, we introduced our fundamental goals and approach. Hytale character customization allows players to select from a variety of body options, hairstyles, and items of clothing. We're seeking to provide the ability to express yourself in a variety of styles, from modern dress to costumes and adventure mode-inspired fantasy attire. In the time since that post, however, we've overhauled the way that Hytale handles color variations for in-game assets. This makes it much easier for both ourselves and future modders to provide a suite of expressive options for players to adorn themselves with. Hey, that's pretty sweet. In this blog, we're going to explain how the new system works. Alright, and I like some of these designs that they're showing off here. I'm not sure what's old and what's new because I didn't exactly memorize every single thing they showed off in the last post they did about this, but they look pretty nice. Previously, creating a new color variation for an asset such as a piece of clothing meant creating a brand new texture. When you change your hair color from black to blue, for example, you effectively replace the entire texture being applied to the hair model. The system was functional, but it massively inflated the amount of textures needed, while ultimately limiting how many options we could offer to players. I can imagine that if people kept on adding new textures all the time, it would increase the file size of the game quite a lot, so maybe doing it differently would make the game take up less space as well. We've since implemented a new system called gradient mapping, and I believe this is something used in many games actually, not just Hytale. This effectively splits up any given in-game asset into three components. The model, which determines the fundamental shape of the item, the texture, which can now incorporate grayscale, spelled the proper way. In case you're wondering, my previous YouTube channel was called Grayscale, spelled like this, because I'm a filthy American. But you can now incorporate grayscale areas to tell the game engine where to apply color variations, a color gradient file selected from a shared pool of files, which tells the game which color to apply to the area designated in the texture, and here's what it looks like in practice. Okay, so let's take a little zoom on this. So we have a t-shirt here, or a simple shirt, and along with a grayscale texture, which is spelled the incorrect way in this. This is how you can tell that the blog posts are written by different people than the people who make these images here. Because this spells grayscale with an E, which is basically everywhere outside of America, whereas up here, it's spelled with an A. So, it's interesting. There's a diverse crowd working on Hytale. So, but they have this basic texture here, and where it's darker, it uses a gradient file that you send it, and uses the darker texture you have over here to replace the darker part on the grayscale design. And it fills in with that gradient everything else to make it a nice fluid design, which I want to see more examples of it in practice. I don't know how many this blog post has. I don't think it has too many examples. But I want to see this, because I feel like this could be done really well, but right now, I need more examples to really get a full understanding of it. In this image, we've taken a simple t-shirt design with the grayscale texture, spelled the proper way again, color taken from a separate gradient files and applied to the mappable area, allowing us to create a wide variety of variations on a given item from a single basic texture. It's possible to set the color of certain parts of a texture and leave others customizable. In the example above, the green stripe on the tracksuit trousers is a customizable area, while the dark blue hue themselves is fixed in the texture file. What's more, the properties of the gradient file can be used to define different material types, from coarse fabrics to high contrast metallics and soft textures like hair. Okay, so if you look at the pants here, these green stripes and probably the strings as well, those are also customizable by gradient. I'm assuming if you want it to all be one solid color, you can just make the gradient one solid color as well. That's interesting. Now what I'm interested in is, if you have, say, a shirt with lots of designs on it, maybe like several different colors of stripes, can you change the gradient of all 3 colors? Like, so you have 3 sets of stripes, can you change all 3 of them separately? Or is it just one gradient for the entire shirt? Because I feel like it's fairly limited if it's only for the one piece of clothing has one gradient that you can use. But if you can set like different parts of the shirt using a different gradient, that would make it really customizable, and that would be really nice. Especially since I don't think that would be too difficult for an entry-level artist to customize, even if you have more than one gradient per clothing item. All that means is they have to create a couple more gradients and they can make a much nicer piece of clothing. And that'd be pretty cool. Alright, so modders will be able to take advantage of these techniques when creating their own content. You'll be able to create and apply textures with gradient mappable areas in Hytale Model Maker. You'll be able to implement custom gradient maps, including new color schemes and materials to Hytale's palette, and further expanding the range of options available for existing items. Our goal is to allow players to express themselves using a wide variety of looks and styles that we provide as part of the game itself, and then empower modders to expand the set with their own creations. Gradient mapping takes that further by allowing modders to provide customizable new assets for players to further personalize themselves. And we can take a look at that right here. And it shows off all sorts of different hair colors that are just, I'm assuming, gradient mapped. So it's not a new texture for each one, it's just a different color applied to the same grayscale texture. Also, just look at the background. I like the lighting going through the windows and the shadows on the wall. There's a chest there with a sort of a cloth on it. It's a little bit ripped. A couch that has some cushions. Pretty nice. I'm not sure what that is at the corner. It has like, I don't know, it's probably just some piece of furniture over in the corner. And a nice little plant in a pot. And there's also some bookshelves and things like that over to the right side here. So moving on from here, these guys look quite nice, very, very vibrant colors. While we have a specific vision for Hytale's art and design style, we encourage modders to use the tools we provide to take the game in new directions. Below, you can see an example of some custom anime-inspired, oh boy, I'm scared, costumes that have been created as a personal project by art team member Stein. Oh, look at that, it's Sailor Moon. Gotta say, the one on the far right is pretty hot. Oh man. I hope Stein continues to create all sorts of anime-inspired costumes. We've got to have one weeb on the team making all of our anime needs come true. Throwing stuff. We've hinted at throwable items a few times on the Hytale blog, including a number of screenshots and that one pigeon video, which I'm going to go to real quick if you don't remember it. So this was the blog post on custom content in Hytale, and this was the tease of throwing that I mentioned earlier. You just had this pigeon here throwing a dagger at this target board here. And they were mentioning it in reference to a game where dead-eye pigeons toss throwing knives at distant targets, talking about like games you can make. And here they use those same targets, but it's more about adventure mode and just throwable items in general and how they'll be used in the world. And so, we thought we'd close out this post by showing some of the work that has been done to make throwing stuff look, feel, and sound the way that it should. It turns out that throwing stuff is fun, and I can agree with that. I throw stuff at the wall all the time, definitely not broken anything. First up, here's an example of the kind of accuracy you'll need to develop if you'd like to become a master of the throwing spear. Alright. Dude, look at this guy. Look at this aim. Now, even beyond just look at the target board and the fact that you can throw these spears and everything, I like the audio. Like, notice the audio here. How sort of the weapon kind of moves right to left as it swings to the left, and you can tell that it's going further away. I think they mention it in a second, but they have improved the way stereo audio works in the game. Also, you might notice that he's throwing these spears, but he still has spears in his hand. So it's not just one spear that he's just throwing and he'd lose it after tossing it. It must be a stackable item that you can just keep on throwing over and over and over again. So you can craft a whole set of them and just keep it all in one slot, I'm guessing. This clip also showcases some recent improvements to our audio system. Stereo panning can now be applied to sound effects on an item-by-item basis, making weapon swings more immersive by reflecting the directional movement of the weapon and the audio itself. While sharp objects like spears become embedded in the objects they collide with, others might bounce or break. In the clip below, you can see how thrown debris interacts with the environment after it is thrown. Alright, so another bit of throwing. Once again, like, you can hear the rock if you're wearing headphones. You can hear the rock on the left and right of you, based on where it is. I like the physics on it. I feel like it should bounce a little bit more than like the way it stops the moment it touches the ground. But it is a work in progress, as they say, and they're going to be improving the physics system as it goes on anyway, which is fine. I like how the leaves move with the wind, though. Now, I wonder if rocks are actually like a good weapon. I can imagine like early game, before you have any real weapons, you can probably just pick up some rocks off the ground and throw them at little enemies that come at you, or maybe if you're hunting, toss them at some animals or something if you're a jerk, or if you need to live. But mostly if you're a jerk. This is a very simple example of what we're hoping to achieve with these kinds of interactions. Physics systems and immersive audio help us add depth and tactility to our actions, that's a word, and over time these small details add up to a much more believable game world. Now there's one particular throwable object that we've received a lot of questions about since we unveiled it back in January. We're not saying that this whole section has been just an excuse to show this next clip, but, well... And I have a feeling I know what this is as well. I see cows, I think I know what it is. Yep. Hey there, Buddha cat. Oh, this is gross. It even has like flies and smoke coming off of it. I don't know what you call that. Visible smell. It actually does some damage. Look at Buddha cat's health before it's thrown at him. I feel like throwing poop at someone should give some sort of a debuff. Sorry if you're finding this gross, I should probably pause it. I feel like it should give some sort of debuff, such as like smelly or something like that. Maybe it'll cause mobs to be attracted to you and attack you more often. Or maybe it'll make you weaker because you're grossed out. Maybe you have to like get in some water to clean yourself off. I think that would be a cool thing. But maybe it's not actually that great a thing. Maybe they've like playtested that and people didn't like it. I don't know. But just an idea. And as they're saying, we're not saying this whole section has been an excuse to show the next clip, but it kind of was. And that's all for this blog post. Pretty straightforward, like I said, just character customization and throwable items. But so long as they're having fun showing us new things each month, I'm fine with it. As long as they keep communicating with us and showing us that they're making progress on the game and that they're working hard. Plus, it looks like they're really enjoying the throwable items, which is always nice. I like to see the devs enjoy the stuff that they're adding to the game. Hopefully they keep adding stuff like that and keep showing us all sorts of fun things. So, that's all for now. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a like, comment, or a subscription. There's a lot more Hytale content on the way. I'm going to keep covering all the Hytale news. Might do some other videos in the future as well. And once the game comes out, that's going to be what I'm doing. So if you're interested in Hytale, a subscription would really help out. That's all for now, and I hope to see you all on the next adventure.